come and join us on Jeff Tracy's sofa here.
Okie doke.
Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm sure you've heard of this randomizer prop here.
I have.
Yes, it's very famous, isn't it? Yes,
It
in
is.
here we have every Jerry Anderson episode ever made. You're going to press a button, doesn't matter which one, whichever one takes your fancy.
Okay.
It'll produce an episode for me to watch and give a commentary on. So, would you like to do the honours? Press the button right now.
Okay.
Here we go. Ooh, thank you very much. And you may be interested to know that you are the first actor from an Anderson show to press the button on this this device here. So it's quite an honour. I'm sure you're very honoured by that. And we have today's episode, which is The Protectors, and it is Your Witness, guest starring Stephanie Beacham, if I remember rightly. Yes. So, would you be willing to come back next week and do the same again, but hopefully produce a different episode?
Okay, I can do that.
I'll see you then. Right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. So we're welcoming back to the Randomiser very soon after we last saw it, I feel, The Protectors. But this is season 1 as opposed to last time, which, was that season 1 as well? I don't even remember. Oh, I remember that guy though. Oh dear. He is, if you remember, way back in somewhere in the late 90s on the Randomiser, 97, 98, we had the infamous Protectors episode, It Can Be Practically Anywhere on the Island, which I maintain is the worst Anderson episode of all time. Part of the reason for that was the performance of the guest actor, Sherwood Price, Robert Vaughan's business partner at the time, who also played, in a couple of other episodes, an American protector named Carter. That was Carter there, as all the protectors are gathered in this airport watching Stephanie Beacham arrive.
Main passenger lounge.
Oh, yes. Where is this? This is probably somewhere really obvious and I've waffled all over it. Anywho. Stephanie Beacham, a notable guest star for this episode. Returning from UFO. She was in the UFO episode Destruction.
I've watched her all the way from Bermuda. She's all yours from now.
Oh, but just the sight of Sherwood Price. I'm sorry, I still have flashbacks to It Could Be Practically Anywhere on the Island. I have never wanted a character, I don't think in anything, to suffer so much as I wanted Sherwood Price's character to suffer in that episode. He was infuriating, awful mugging, just the worst kind of performance.
You're Harry Room.
Get in.
Mr. Room.
Rooftop.
Oh, sniper up there.
Multi-story car park, marksman.
Oh, send in Sherwood Price to deal with it. We can afford to lose him. Yeah, Sherwood Price, Robert Vaughan's business partner of the time. There he goes. And I gather he also was not an element of the Protectors setup conducive to a pleasant working environment. So, the sniper is making a getaway. The weather suddenly seems to have changed quite dramatically. Yeah, we've had some rain in wherever this is. Oh, but Carter's getting his moment to shine. Yeah, the guy is escaping in a car. Whoa! Sherwood Price doing his own stunts. This is actually quite exciting. And actually, he does look quite credible as a tough undercover security guy. Oh, look out! Oh no! Oh no, they shot Sherwood Price! Oh! What a shame. I'm so upset. Sherwood Price is dead. So, as we come back from the opening titles to Your Witness, guest star George Baker as well. So we're set up for good guest artists in this episode, if nothing else. Ah, this was France then. France airport.
All right, now will you tell me what this is all about?
And it's quite a big protectors operation by the look of it. Stephanie Beacham is appearing in a trial for a character named George Dixon, who I believe is George Baker's character.
You may not want protection, but nobody's going to tell me you don't need it.
Yes, they are now one protector down. However, will they cope without Carter? Oh, I recognise that piece of stock footage. That was used in Disappearing Trick, another very Paris-centric episode. And there he is, George Baker.
Plain, George, I do not like having people hired over my head.
Christy, you've got to be realistic about this. Mr. Roon will tell you.
Is that what you'll tell me, Mr. Room?
Why not? You're the only witness to a killing.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so she's a witness. What's George Baker's involvement in all this?
How can he be dangerous? He's in custody.
We just saved your life, baby, and a friend of mine got shot helping us. Does that answer your question?
Oh, no.
What happened?
There was a guy at the airport with a rifle.
Shot Carter.
Say in Bermuda, Christy.
What, Mr. Trial?
God, how will we get along without Carter? Harry Rule is devastated by the loss of Carter, as you can tell.
She doesn't realize the Sacha Bessons of this world, they're killers.
I can't remember the relationship between George Baker and Stephanie Beacham at this point, I'm sorry. I don't... Are they married, or...?
Accept the help of people who are trained to protect you.
I don't know. It's been a very long time since I've seen this episode, in fact.
Child, then.
I do, oddly, I remember more about the ending than I do the rest of the story. This is one of those episodes, I don't know if
Not even you.
if you're much the same as I am. Sometimes I get episodes of shows sort of bundled together. I used to do that with UFO. I used to confuse the Danatech Affair with Responsibility Seat. This one I confuse with the episode whose title I cannot remember at this time. It was guest starring Anna Polk. Oh, Kind of Wild Justice. I don't know why, because again, they're two completely separate stories. One set in London, this one obviously in Paris, which has taken me by surprise. I didn't think this was a Europe set episode, but there we go, never mind. So, Harry is driving Stephanie Beacham around Paris, and wouldn't you know it, the Contessa has used her limo to block the pursuing naughty person, whoever that may be. That's a fun noise. Yes, thank you. And again, this is a good moment where you can spot local just residents admiring the filming that's come to their city. I think there's a scene in It Was All Over in Leipzig where Robert Vaughan has a close-up and you can see like 1 million people behind him. Anywho, who lives in a house like this? I recognise it. I think we've been here before.
This part of Paris. Where are we now?
Well, I never really paced it out, but I would guess that we're about 50 yards from where we started.
This is Paul Boucher's groovy pad. There he is, the man in person.
I see this barbarian didn't give you a drink yet. What will it be?
And this was a set, I believe, it was a few times in the first season.
See if I've forgotten anything.
Oh. I think it was in The Big Hit and Disappearing Trick. This was a regular set for the first season. And then never used again, I don't think, in the second year. Presumably, you know, they would only film on this set when they had stories set in Paris, but it seems strange to junk what was essentially a regular set.
Charm a little more. She's a strong bird. Anything from that?
Paul's pulled his finest bird-catching cravat out of the wardrobe. That is quite something.
The body had recently been given a lining of nylon mesh.
Bullet.
50-50 protection against a low-caliber weapon, maybe.
The garage that installed it must know something.
That's what I figured. So I concentrated on the car.
So, Paul has been investigating the car which contained the guy that presumably shot poor old Carter. We are going to miss him. I suppose, you know, if you want, you can watch this in reverse order to the other episode that he appeared in, which I think was the numbers game. You can say, Carter lives, and we're all happy. I prefer to say Carter is dead until I hear otherwise. And it's quite revealing about the Protectors that so far they haven't mentioned whether their friend has lived or died. It's like, he's done his part. We don't need to hear any more about it.
Private property?
Depends on whose property.
So we're breaking into the garage to see what we can see.
Call the police.
And I told Martin I checked his record. He'd find having the cops around here about as funny as an open grave.
Maybe you should have raised that point before you broke in. So... yeah, it's just occurred to me how strange what I'm doing right now is. The Contessa's found something. Yeah, it's just so strange that I'm sat in a hotel in Slough watching an episode of The Protectors. When I could have, I mean, actually yesterday I was at home skimming through the channels. Yeah, this was on ITV4, not this episode. I think it was Trial. So it's a much nicer setting to watch this in. Meanwhile, Paul is, well, he's not playing cards with Stephanie Beacham because she's obviously a bit stressed about the whole people potentially trying to kill me kind of thing.
I've got better things to do with my life.
Yeah, haven't we all?
I've got a Moonbase Alpha security section to ruin. Oh, I like this music.
Now that sounds like the best idea yet.
Oh. No, it is the piece that I was thinking it was. Again, the Network Protectors soundtrack CD is just one of my favourite soundtrack releases of any Anderson show. Such wonderful, easy listening music on that set. I don't think you can find it now. I mean, even before Network went bust, that was a very hard set to find. So, Stephanie Beacham clearly wants a bit of Paul Boucher. Paul Boucher is resisting.
He's all you've got. I don't mind sharing.
Get a good night's sleep, Christy. And no matter how hot it gets in here, don't open the shutters.
Ooh. He's a professional, that one. You probably say later on to Harry, oh, I resisted her charms. Or, Paul, why did you resist her charms? You know, they throw themselves at you. You take advantage of it, Paul. God knows I've done that on several occasions. Wasn't there an episode where he had to shoo his dog out of bed in order to take a lady he'd been protecting to it? Oh, well. Nice touch there as well, though, that the Paris skyline has the Eiffel Tower in it. Because, of course, it would. Oh, what's happened? Several hours later, apparently, Paul has failed. Oh, the cards are a mess. Paul has been conked.
Yeah.
The flat doesn't seem to have been ransacked except for his room. They've got Stephanie Beacham. Oh no. The plan was perfect to just drive round the block. Ah, some more lovely location filming with this episode though. And there's that voice. We recognise that voice. It's Robert Rietti, a frequent ITC voice-over artist when it came to dubbing foreign actors. Although he looks slightly, I know this is an odd thing to say, he looks slightly English, slightly familiar, that face.
This is simple. $700,000.
Certainly too young a face for that kind of voice.
And Sacha Besson was involved?
Undoubtedly. And the man is charged with killing. We have no actual proof, Contessa, but you see, the only raid was big time.
Yes.
So,
3 Paris gangs linked up for the job.
the gang leader that Stephanie Beacham is testifying against is very naughty.
So, Contessa. Confidentially, we have a witness.
I thought he was going to say, he is safely behind bars, Contessa.
Which appears in court.
Right. Ah, I remember this setting now.
Not offering any excuses, but Christie did disobey instructions.
You mean she opened the shutters? But they still somehow...
Oh, it's a fatal mistake in their line of work.
Frankly, I don't see how asking questions around here will lead you to her. I should be in the club 70 if you want me.
George Baker, curiously,
I'll tell you how to get there.
is not concerned about where she is. Indeed, the protectors do not seem that concerned because, you know, it's off to the casino. I may have missed the link between the kidnapping and the casino. But here's another young lady, slightly the worse for wear for drink. So Harry's going to try his luck on the detective front, possibly have a chat with her. Ah, oh, the Contessa is here as well. Yes, a lot of casino scenes in these ITC shows. Not many in the Anderson shows, oddly. I think there's more in the puppet shows with Duchess Assignment and Special Assignment.
Those are my favourite kind.
Hint, hint. Because believe it or not, this is going to be yet another Protectors episode in which the resolution of the plot involves a tobacco product. We had that before in, was it One and One Makes One? Where the conclusion of the plot revolved around Harry had lifted a cigarette end from somewhere.
See no evil, hear no evil. Avoid a bullet in the back of your head.
You can't really blame
Cool
me.
title.
The stakes were as high as the Commandant says.
Shame we've already used the See No Evil title. There's still that lady in the corner to worry about.
You may have found the weak link.
I still can't remember how they got to the casino. I also recognise this lady, and it's going to annoy me until I can remember her name.
Would you like to help me play at the table?
I would prefer to drink champagne.
No, it's not going to come to me.
So, You have got a sister.
She almost looks like the actress who played Jean Hopkirk's sister in a couple of episodes in Randall and Hopkirk. I don't think it is, though. She must have done all of these old ITC shows, though. She must have been in more ITC casino scenes than I've had hot dinners.
We had a killing here, Henri Cartier.
You are fishing in, how you say, the deep water, monsieur.
Roux. Harry Roux.
Harry?
And going back to what I said just there about there being quite a few... Oh, I recognise that face as well. Quite a few sort of casino scenes in The Protectors. I think that's mostly confined to the first season, when, you know, the show seemed to revel in the fact that these were characters who were inexplicably wealthy and lived in this world where, you know, it was just extravagance was to be enjoyed. Whereas in the second year, it wasn't quite as common. I think the only time you really see them in a setting like this is in Zeke's Blues, and even then that's a nightclub. Sorry, I got distracted there by a very sunburnt-looking lady. Either she had a very good holiday, or the DVD restoration was a bit... Yeah, her. It was a bit generous on the face colouring there.
This is not the place to ask your questions.
You got a better idea?
Rien ne va plus.
I go now. I take the taxi. I see you in 1 hour. Place Alpes.
I wonder if you could intercut the Duchess of Royston into this scene. It's probably quite easy, actually, to get several Anderson characters around the roulette wheel. Put Scarlett in there as well, possibly. Sadly, I don't think Joe 90 had his day at the casino. That would have been something to see.
Le 22. Noir, fer et bas. Pour madame.
Ah, another extra there, the croupier, I recognise as... I think he was in UFO. I think he was the gunman who shoots Not Straker in the responsibility seat. Anywho, Harry is leaving with Lady. Yeah, I want to say this guy was in UFO as well. Yes, he was in Confetti Check AOK. I think he was one of the international ambassador guys that Straker had to convince to put money into Shadow. Possibly he was the British contingent. Anywho, I'm talking about a lot of other episodes this week rather than the one that I'm supposed to be looking at. More lovely music here. Quite a nice, interesting shot here. The mixture of darks and shadows and different shades of blue. Anywho, I think the lady has something important to tell Harry.
Monsieur Roux?
She thinks that's him coming up the stairs. But the music tells us otherwise. Plus the fact that we haven't seen his face yet. Oh.
Harry?
Oh, here he comes. Is that Harry? Yep. Arriving just too late. And dead. Well, even Harry's overcome with not even concern, just sort of, well, that's another lead down the toilet then. First Carter, now Jean Hopkirk's possible sister. What else can go wrong for him tonight? It's an interesting shot taken from on top of a ladder.
Yes, it was Dixon.
Oh, George Baker killed her. Okay. Well, the Contessa sat back and did nothing. She could have apprehended him beforehand, but no. Yeah, this is definitely the guy from Confetti Check.
Leave that now, Carlo. Go home.
Oh, there we go.
Mr. Dixon?
He hasn't had much of a speaking part in this episode yet.
Sure you don't want me to stick it on?
I think he's the guy who, when Straker pitches the Shadow defense budget, he's the one who says, fleet of submarines, base on the moon, Satellites? As if satellites is by far the most out there part of that setup. Oh dear. So, our UFO guy has gone. George Baker is gathering up, I'm going to presume he's gathering up all the money to put in a suitcase to, well, I guess he's going to scarp her. Because that's probably what you do in this situation. Oh, but here come the protectors. Odd that Chino's disappeared from the story. He could be quite useful at this point. So, turn off the lights. Pretend no one's home. It's not going to work with our heroes, though. Robert Vaughn has this knack of he makes entering a room look very cool. Very few actors can carry off entering a room the way he does. But he's advancing towards the back of the casino. As George Baker has made it look like he's out the back, but in fact, oh, he was hiding in the shadows. Whoa! Well, bit of slight stunt work there.
Well, thanks for the help.
Well, I had every confidence in you.
And we're back to the cigarette case. This is, again, about to become an important point. It looks like Harry's got the villains under control. But unfortunately, he has figured without one rather key villain in this scenario. There she is. Stephanie Beecham was in on the plan all along, which causes the Contessa to break out one of her special cigars, which she hinted at earlier.
How did you find that?
I'll tell you. A bullion split between Cartier, Besson, and whoever else was on the job. It's got to mean trouble.
It did.
Oh, so she was in on the bullion raid, or whatever it was. I've waffled over what was actually driving the plot of this episode. Also noticing that the Contessa is relighting her cigar after she's already got it lit. It's something you see a lot in these old shows. Continuity regarding smoking is understandably difficult to maintain.
All the evidence he's got.
So?
He plans a phony attempt to kill her at the airport and an equally phony kidnapping.
To be followed, no doubt, by a last-minute escape on the eve of the trial.
Where does that leave us?
Okay.
Well, now let me see. Was Cartier already dead?
So it's quite a simple setup.
In prison, thanks to Christie's evidence. To you.
And it's bumped one member of the gang out of the
three of you pulled from
the money.
Well,
So it goes from 3 people getting cuts to 2.
I think that just about wraps up the case.
But they didn't count on the protectors and their tobacco weaponry. There we go. Nice and simple. And oddly, I remember the first time I watched this episode, that was where the episode ended. ITV4, when they showed this episode, they just cut this final scene. I guess, for time. It doesn't really add anything to the story. Because particularly with the first series, we've seen this kind of scene several times. It's still nice. I think these two have a really nice chemistry.
Two-faced, deceitful, tricky, weasel-like, treacherous
So long as Robert Vaughn doesn't end the episode making one of his rude gestures, shall we say. But as we leave the nighttime streets of Paris, that was The Protectors, your witness. And yeah, as I said, I haven't seen that episode for quite a long time. And despite, I got it right, Judith Arthey, that was the Randall and Hopkirk actress. Despite not having seen it for a while, despite not having remembered it quite as well as I should have, I thoroughly enjoyed that one. Nice to see it again, nice strong guest cast, and I got to finally see Sherwood Price get his just desserts. About time too.